single time. The second component of the exposure triangle is called aperture. The aperture refers to the size of the opening at the end of the lens. The larger this iris, the more light comes through. The smaller the iris, the less light comes through. For aperture, we refer to stops of light that it produces as what's called f-stops. The closer to 0 that number, the larger the aperture will be. The larger the number, the smaller the aperture will be. So common aperture stops look like f1.4, f2, f2.8, f4, f5.6, f8, f11, f16, and so on. And for example, lenses that have a maximum aperture of f1.4 will have a very large aperture, like this one. Now, creatively, aperture is most commonly associated with controlling what's called the depth of field. Simply put, depth of field refers to how much of the image can be in focus. So large apertures like f1.4 will produce what's called a very shallow depth of field. This means that the area of focus is quite thin or is quite shallow, and it's typically used to draw your eye into the thing that's the most important thing in the composition while the rest of the image goes out of focus. And this out of focus blur is commonly known as bokeh, and many people find it to be very aesthetically pleasing. These effects are very often found in genres such as portrait